right, welcome folks to Monday Mindset and happy MLK Day. It's kind of it definitely is a holiday, considered a day off for some people, but here we are getting better. So I'm looking forward to sharing with you today. I'm going to share my screen here. One of the thing that we're going to talk about today is something that has really always kind of resonated with me just from a standpoint of when we get into some of the things that we say for ourselves in regards to time. And you'll see as we talk about this is truly a mindset shift that you have to put yourself through, and you'll see by doing so, this mindset shift will change everything in regards to how you approach the time, the 24 hours in the day that you have, and what you're doing during that time. So I want you to think about, we say time management all the time. I've seen people put classes and trainings on in regards to showing you how to do time management. And the reality of it is you can't manage time. And once you understand that and understand what you can manage, it's an extreme shift in everything, in the results and the activity and all the things that you're doing. So just to prove, that we can't manage time. If you have a watch on here, I got mine. I have a second hand on here on my watch. And if you have a watch on, if you can see a clock and you see the second hand ticking right now, I want you to point at that watch or point at that clock and say, stop. All right. Push a button, that stops the clock. All right. Or maybe you can't stop it, but can you slow it down? Can you make time, maybe make a second last for like 2 seconds or 3 seconds? Can you slow down time on your clock? No, the only way that you could slow or stop the time on this watch is to probably take a hammer to it, and you're stopping the time on this watch, but you're not stopping time in general. You're not pausing time, because time cannot be stopped. Time cannot be paused. So by that being the case, time cannot be managed. So once we understand that, just the very words that we're using in regards to time management are incorrect. And I'm going to share with you the mindset that it creates when you're using those incorrect terms, of how you're utilizing your hours in the day, when as we go through this. But again, if time cannot be paused, it cannot be rewound, fast forward. We have the 24 hours, we have the 60 seconds of each minute. And everyone has the same 24 hours throughout the course of the day. So what we have to understand about all of that is that the real variable, the thing that we can change, that we have some control over, is our behavior in that time. So that's what we're going to talk more about today, is what that looks like. So I want you to think about this for a second. Have you ever heard these phrases, or have you ever used these phrases before? It's a common language that we hear, oh, time got away from me today. I wasn't able to get something done, or I didn't have enough time today, or today just got busy. I ran out of time. You think about it. Those are phrases that we say all the time. When you're busy, when you have multiple things that you're doing in your business, these are very common phrases that are said. And if you think about it, we're kind of putting the blame or the fault on time and not ourselves. And so I'm going to share with you again, just making this switch here in just a minute, the difference that it's going to make in your business. So the truth beneath the words is, it's not that you didn't have enough time, it's that you didn't control the activities in the time that you were given. And once we can make that switch of understanding that that's the thing you can control. Because see, when if you looked at football yesterday, if you ever looked at a basketball game, they have this thing called clock management, not time management, clock management. What that means is because it's a sporting event and there's certain rules that are in place that allow you to take timeouts, that allow the clock to stop in certain instances. That's what you call clock management. And see, what we've uh, kind of fell into the place of is thinking that in the real world, in the business world, that we are doing some type of clock management in essence. But reality of it is we're not, because the clock right here that I have on my wrist or that you have on the wall, you can't stop it where time actually stops. So understanding that the thing that you do control are your activities and how you operate in those things. So time is fixed. It is what it is in regards to time. But activity is flexible. So I'm going to share more in regards to what I mean around that. So with activity management, this is where, we control what actually exists. Number one, we'll have intentional selection. So we have the ability throughout the course of our day or throughout the course of our week to set our schedule of the things that we need to get done this coming week or during this day, and deliberately choose what you're doing. The key becomes choosing the right things, choosing the things that are important. We'll talk more about that here in just a second. And having a strategic sequencing, ordering actions by importance and impact. So again, creating urgency around those things that are a priority. And then value protection, safeguarding high value activities from dilution. So again, things that you know that you need to get done versus we call it putting out fires, things that pop up in the real estate industry, the business that we are in. The bottom line is we are firefighters also, because there's going to be days where, and probably, almost every day, where something that was not on the schedule is going to come up, and we got to deal with it. And some instances, that fire that we all of a sudden have to deal with becomes more important than now the things that we had on our plate that initially were our priorities. So we have to be able to realize and understand that even though there's a fire, even though we have to put it out, it can't take us off of the task that we have at hand. Three activities and categories: intentional activities. These are those things that are planned. It's the things that align with your goals. It's things that are moving you towards whatever your purpose is, the things that you're trying to do. It's the proactive engagement that you're having in your business. So these are those things throughout the course of the week when you're setting the goals for yourself that you're focused on. So the intentional activities, the reactive activities, it goes back to putting out the fires, dealing with things as they all of a sudden just come out of nowhere for you. Sometimes you have to think, okay, how big of a fire is this? Is this a small fire that can, wait until I get, some or all of these intentional activities done? Or is this something I got to jump on right now? I got to pause everything that I'm doing here and move to taking care of this particular issue. So throughout the course of the day, when these things come up, we always have to evaluate because it can become very easy for us to have these intentional activities that we know that we should be doing that are going to move us closer to our goal. And then a small fire comes up, but we treat it like a big fire and it takes up half of the day or it takes up all of the day. So again, evaluating those things and where you place the reactive activities. And then we have the avoidance activities. These are the things that maybe you feel more comfortable doing, but they're not the what I call income producing activities. They're not the activities that are intentional, that are going to move you closer towards your goal. They look productive, they feel productive, but they're really a distraction. Some of these things can be when we're um, preparing content for social media, when those things should never take priority over intentional activities of, say, making 10 calls, getting on the phone and making 10 calls to your database. The busy work masquerading as progress. So again, there's a lot of things that, we're creating a flyer, or we're putting new marketing material together, things of that nature, where all of it needs to be done. It's a part of our business that needs to be done, but it shouldn't take a priority over intentional activities. So, and it's very easy for us to kind of think to ourselves, well, this is something, I got to have flyers for my open house, or whatever the case may be. But it's also about understanding where it falls on the priority list of those intentional activities. So let's talk about just some key insights. So most days aren't lost on legitimate emergencies. It's on the unfiltered activity. So what I'm talking about here is categorizing, and as the different things come up, because it would be great if we had a list for today of the things that we are going to get done, and you know that, man, you get to the end of the day and you get this whole list done. Man, I've moved the needle on my business today. I have done some great stuff. But then is that reality of, the phone calls, the emails, the things that come up in your business, the appraisal doesn't come back high enough, all the different things that just come up throughout the course of the day. So, and then that's where the filtering of the activities have to come into play. And we almost you have to go into it. I look at it as, I'm talking about football a few minutes ago. You think from a quarterback of a NFL team, when they go into a game, there's a game plan and there's plays, and they've practiced those plays, and they have everything dialed in as to how, the play should go, how many yards this play should produce, all the things. But then you have a defense that's in front of you that all of a sudden is doing a different type of scheme that you're not familiar with. You have to be able to pivot. You have to be able to make those adjustments. Our business is no different than that, because again, what we're dealing with is we have a set plan. We have these intentional goals or intentional activities that we're looking to focus on. But all of a sudden, things happen, things come up that put us in a position where we cannot achieve the intentional, because all of a sudden something came up out of the blue. But it's most important of understanding, okay, where does this fit on the priority list through our daily activities? All right. So let's talk about the accountability gap. So when I remember when I said a minute ago, some of the things that we say, we'll talk about, I ran out of time, or I didn't have enough time, or, the day got away from me, and, the hours went by faster than I expected. We've said all these things. You know, what are we doing? We're putting the blame on time for not achieving the activity, the intentional activity that we put in our place. So it removes responsibility from you. And it helps you to really kind of take a victim mentality with that. So this is where the shift becomes very important, when we stop thinking about time management and we start thinking about activity management. Because when you are managing your activities, you are in control. Remember, you can't stop time, you can't control time, but you can control your activities. So now you've put yourself in a place of ownership. You are taking accountability for what it is that you get done today. And it's a mentality that you have to set forth for yourself. This is, for me, there's certain rewards that I give myself either throughout the course of the day or at the end of the day that if I don't achieve the goals that I set for the day, then I don't get the reward. And I want the reward. So it helps me to be able to go out and achieve those goals. And it gives a sense of accountability. I'm being self accountable for the things that I'm doing throughout the course of the day. All right, what changes when activity is the focus? Results become more measurable. Again, this is one of those things where I'm a big believer in tracking and when you put something down on paper, uh, in this instance, something that are the intentional pieces that you want to get achieved today versus what you actually get done when you can look at the end of the day what you actually were able to get done is going to play a big part in reaching the ultimate goals for yourself. And then excuses become invisible um, or excuse me, excuses become visible, meaning when you're saying, if you see yourself saying, I ran out of time or the day got away from me, what are you doing? You're now going back into that place of blaming time versus yourself. So where you want to keep yourself is in a place where you're taking accountability for what you get done throughout the course of the day. All right. So again, the old language versus the new language. Again, we've talked about it here. I didn't have time. Time got away from me. There's not enough hours in the day. And then I want you to start thinking and remove that from your vocabulary. Move the old language from your vocabulary. And when you get to the end of the day and say to yourself, when you look at, you know what it is that you didn't get completed, at the end of the day and tell yourself, I didn't prioritize that activity. Something came up and I put something else as a priority, but I didn't prioritize this. For me, when that happens, I can tell you, it's like, okay, well, can I do it now? Is there still time to be able to do it now? And if there's not, because maybe, it has something to do with a business that's closed, and I allowed that business to be open all day and now it's closed and I can't do this. Whose fault is that? It's still my fault. It's not time's fault because I should have prioritized knowing that at 5 o'clock, this business is going to close and I'm going to have to push this to the following day. Even though I had a fire or two that may have popped up, is there somewhere I'm always evaluating myself? I'm saying, is there somewhere where I could have got that 5, 10, 15 minute call in to be able to take care of this? I allowed lower value activities to take over. Once again, I'm constantly evaluating, okay, why didn't I get this done today? Was it because I allowed lower value activities? Was it because I got on social media and started scrolling and got an hour later, here I am, and I just lost an hour of time? I can tell you, I've done that, in the past. I can tell you that there have been certain things when you're dealing with, I can tell you, getting my license here in California, there were aspects of dealing with the California Real Estate Commission. There were some things I had to get done in for my mortgage license in Colorado, for continuing education in Colorado as well. And it took dealing with government entities to get things taken care of. And we know how government entities move very slowly. So for me, when I'm on the phone more than 30 minutes trying to resolve one issue, the clock is ticking. It's literally in the back of my head is, man, I'm losing time right now. And so again, it becomes one of those things of trying to multitask to a certain degree. While I'm doing that, can I be doing something else that's on my list? So again, finding different ways to get the activities, the intentional activities taken care of. And then, another one, the new language. I need to eliminate the low value task, from my, from what I'm doing. I need to be able to eliminate those things if it's not going to bring value to my business. All right. And a big part of all of this comes down to personal boundaries. And this is something that over the last probably 6 weeks, 2 months, I've really been taking inventory of in regards to personal boundaries. And for me, a big part of that is right here where it says these emotional boundaries, resisting guilt-driven yeses. And I don't know if it's guilt-driven or if it's just kind of a makeup of who I am, but I tend to say yes to a lot. And with that being the case, it tends to put a lot on my plate. And we get into that place where, again, we want to please people. Where you think about it, we're in the service industry. So if you're doing this right, you probably do you say yes to your clients, you say yes to your colleagues, you say yes to organizations and nonprofits and all the different things, and you get yourself into a position where you're just inundated with all these different things. So for me, I've had to find ways of removing things from my plate because, I can tell you for me, being an agent in Colorado and now in California, looking to do business in both areas, growing an EXP organization, being a part of boards for nonprofits, and all the different things. There's a lot on my plate. So I really had to start looking over the last 6 weeks of where do I prioritize my time? Where do I focus my time? What can I delegate to others? What are those things that can make this process easier where I can still focus on those intentional activities. So that's probably one of the biggest areas that we all have to kind of look at for ourselves because, again, like I said, we're in the service-based industry, and it becomes very easy to say yes to almost everything. Time boundaries. When you're available. And this is going to be, I think time blocking is a good aspect of being able to have those intentional activities that you want to get done, prioritizing that nothing else comes into the fold during the time blocking for those intentional activities. If you say that you got to make 10 calls and all of a sudden a text message comes through while you're making one of those calls, you can't read it. All right. That text message will be there in 10, 15, an hour, whatever the case may be. And I know it may feel like, man, the sky may be falling, your text is blowing up, but you got to be able to stay on task of what it is that you're trying to do. If you've ever heard of the Pomodoro technique, this will kind of help you to alleviate, if you're who can be away from their phone for an hour? I can tell you honestly, I could not. Like if I had multiple text messages coming in from a client, there's obviously an emergency going on. And if I'm just starting my hour and I'm saying that I'm not responding to this in an hour, that could probably be a problem for that with that client. So the Pomodoro technique is a technique where you're literally using a timer. I have my timer right here that I use. And it's 20-minute increments with a 5-minute break between those things. And whatever task that you're doing, you do it for 20-minute increments. In that 5 minutes, you use it however you want. You go to the restroom, you grab water, you look at your text messages. But after that 5 minutes is up, you're back on task. So doing something like that, using the Pomodoro technique, will at least give you the opportunity to go look at your text message and you see, okay, the sky is falling for a client right now, but I got to stay on task. But let me at least respond to them and let them know that I'll be able to get back with them in, at X, whatever time it may be in, or X number of minutes that you'll be able to get back with them. So I would definitely look at when you're time blocking. Don't just set like, okay, 2 hours, these next 2 hours, I'm all dialed in on this. No, break it down into 20-minute increments. It actually helps you to stay a little bit more focused when you're taking those breaks in between. The Pomodoro effect usually works that you take 20 minutes of doing the task, 5 minutes off. Another 20 minutes doing the task, 5 minutes off. Another 20 minutes of doing the task, 15 minutes off. So within 60 minutes, or actually an hour and a half, you've been able get 60 minutes of work done, and you took about, what is that, 25 minutes of a break in that time. So by doing it, that way, it kind of helps you to keep your brain cells going as well. And it just becomes easier to process going through those things. The priority boundaries, that's kind of what we've been talking about in regards to the things that are going to move the needle, the income producing activities for yourself. Are really the things that should be top of the list of the things that you want to get done. The things that, yeah, they play kind of a supporting role in helping you to get things done. Those should be, lower on the list, but yeah, they may need to be done. Those may also be things that you look to delegate. Maybe you hire a personal assistant. Maybe you're using AI. Maybe you have someone on the team take care of those things. Just figuring out what things you need to remove from your plate, what things need to be in a different order in regards to what you're doing. And then the digital boundaries, that's kind of going back to the text messages, the scrolling. My wife and one of my team members have kind of both at this beginning of the year have taken on this crusade to look at how much time they're using on social media. Both of them, there's a couple of different apps out there that help you to, I'm trying to see if I can find one of them, but it gives you certain amount of time that you have on social media. Um, so, for instance, my wife was on one the last week of the year where it only gave her, I think 15 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day. And this is someone that was probably on social media throughout the course of the day, maybe 3 or 4 hours. And she went for a whole week for only doing 15 minutes. Now, she had all of her social media scheduled, so she didn't have to worry about that part. That was going out. But her time to just be able to scroll and connect with people was 15 minutes per day. So not only did it, give her back a lot of her time, it helped her to realize, okay, what's the quality that I can use this 15 minutes for? Am I just gonna just mindlessly kind of scroll at, other people's stuff, or I'm gonna, engage with a few folks that, are on social media. So, and another gentleman that's part of my group, he has his scheduled. I think he has a little bit more. He has a few different times throughout the course of the day where he can get on social media. And it is his time to, where he can post. He can put up different things. Now, he has it set up like at 12 o'clock, from 12 o'clock to 12:30, for instance. Now, if something happens and he misses his window, it closes. If he doesn't get on between 12 and 12:30, he just missed that opportunity. And whatever next window he has is where he's able to scroll. I share that with you because I can tell you, I know that I have, 3 to 4 hours myself, probably on social media. And I like to think that uh, the majority of the time that I'm on there, I'm posting and I'm engaging, but I know that there's moments in there where I'm just scrolling and I'm not, it goes for an entertainment standpoint instead of being used for a business function. So again, those are things that we always have to take into account for ourselves. Um, I'm trying to see if I can find, uh, I'll see if I can find one of those, time blocks for social media, but there's quite a few different apps that are available. And I think if you look at some of those things for yourself, see if I've done a screenshot on that. No, I guess I did not. I will definitely drop it into our different WhatsApp groups of some of those platforms that you can use that will help you to kind of restrict your time. And you will see that, both people, my wife, my business partner, have both said how much that they've been able to get done and how productive they've been since implementing, an app like this. So definitely something to consider if digital boundaries are a part of the challenge for you. All right. So again, reframing those boundaries, again, it just comes down to what's urgent versus what's important. Again, there are going to be fires, there are going to be things that come up, but are they urgent that need to be taken care of right now, where they take you off of your intentional activities? Also the, other priorities versus your objectives. There's always going to be, other priorities that come up. I've seen throughout when I'm working on one particular goal, all of a sudden it creates a new goal. But I have to tell myself, do I go down a rabbit hole of going onto this new goal, or do I stay focused on completing the initial goal that I set for myself? So again, having those boundaries are going to protect us from what matters most. Um, and again, when your activity and your boundaries are working together, it's going to give you a few different things. Your days become more intentional. There's no accidental, schedules. Your focus is going to deepen. Your energy is preserved again because you're focusing on the most important things. You're staying on the intentional things, and most importantly, your results become predictable and they become better than what they were in the past by doing so. So, the question that you have to ask yourself, and I would say ask yourself, this at the end of every day, did I manage my activity today, or did I allow my activity to be managed for me? So again, shifting your thinking from time management to activity management is going to, have a huge sense of accountability to it, and then protecting with boundaries. Again, giving yourself the ability to be able to get the things done, and then you're just going to see better results for yourself. So I look forward to seeing each of you put these things into play. I think it'll be very effective and helpful for you in regards to moving forward, reaching your goals. We are at that time of the year where we have resolutions, we have goals, whatever the case may be, and we're trying to reach those things. And this is that time right around, they say, I forget what the number is, but it's a high percentage of people by the middle of February have given up on their resolutions. A lot of it has to do with this aspect of managing their activity versus trying to manage time. So I look forward to hearing any results that you guys want to share. You guys have a great rest of your Monday, and talk to you soon. Take care.
If you'd like more information or to get connected to the Agent Power Huddle, join our free Facebook group. This call was designed for the agents in our EXP organization, but open to any agent from any brokerage. If you're a guest and you're interested in learning more about EXP or our specific resources within the Agent Collective, reach out to the person who invited you to this call to get more info. Produced by the Agent Collective Media Network.